Okay, let's try this again. All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about indirect statement, okay, using both present and perfect infinitives, okay? We've been using present active and passive infinitives for quite a while, but now we're adding in the perfect infinitives. Okay, just a little reminder about the passives of the perfect system, okay? They're always formed with a perfect passive participle, okay, like copta here, um, plus um, a form of the verb to be, okay, and depending on the tense of that form, it'll change the tense of the perfect passive verb. In this case, we have a pluperfect because we're using the imperfect form of esse of sum, okay, and also we remember that the whatever the subject is of that passive verb, okay, um, it's going to have to agree with it in case, gender, and number. Okay, so we have copta and we have quai, okay, which had been captured by us. Okay, oh, it must be the fruits, right? Okay. Um, but with the perfect passive infinitive, instead of having the finite form, okay, and errant is a finite form because it has person and number. It can only be they, right? Okay, it's third person plural. We're going to replace that with just esse, okay? Um, and that turns it into an infinitive, which means it's not limited in person and number. Okay, you can have any person or number in the accusative case that can be the subject of esse. And here's a couple examples of the perfect passive. Okay, in indirect statement. Okay, so we have our head verb dico. Okay, I say that the man has been looked at. Okay, notice how conspectum agrees with wir room. Okay, what kind of man is he? A having been looked at man, right? Okay, I say that the men have been looked at. Okay, so we have our present tense, or I'm sorry, we have our accusative plural, masculine. Okay, I say that the woman has been looked at. Okay, and again we have feminam conspectam. Or I say that the women have been looked at. Feminas esse conspectas. What kind of women are they? Having been looked at women. So how do we form the perfect active infinitive? Well, we go to the third principal part. Okay, parav. We take off the I and we add isse. And so that is an infinitive. This ending does not show number or person. Okay, and with the perfect passive infinitive, we go to the fourth principal part because that's the passive participle. And then we just add esse to that. So to have been prepared. And so we have the infinitives that we have been discussing so far. We have parare, present active, to prepare, parari, to be prepared, parawisse, to have prepared, okay, past tense but active, okay, and then paratus esse, to have been prepared, uh, past tense but passive. Okay, so this is what our next assignment is going to look like, okay. Um, let's take a look at some of these examples, okay. Um, a cella, cellae feminine is a chair, okay. Here we have selam, we have the accusative, okay? So he or she says that he or she is moving the chair, okay? Now, say is the reflexive pronoun, okay? Whenever you have say, the subject or the person who's the say is representing is always going to be whoever is the subject of the main verb, okay? So here we know that the person speaking is the person moving the chair. Okay. So he or she says that he or she is moving the chair. All right. Or number two, Dixit se movere selam. Now, everything is the same except the main verb. The main verb is now perfect tense, and we're going to assume it's a simple past, not a perfect present perfect. Okay. So he said, or he or she said, that he or she moved the chair. Notice what we do differently here. Even though this is a present infinitive, okay, um, it's time, the tense that we translated in is relative to whatever the main verb is, okay? Present infinitives and present participles, as we're going to soon find out, or be reminded of anyway, always happen at the same time as the main verb. And so in this case, we have to shift our translation of moere back to match the tense of dixit. So whereas here we have he or she says that he or she moves or is moving the chair, here we have he or she said sometime in the past that he or she moved the chair or was moving the chair. And notice how the aspect is kind of fluid with these, okay? So we don't have, unlike Greek, we don't have um, infinitives that show a difference in aspect. So whether or not that's a simple past, a simple action, or whether or not that's an ongoing action, like an imperfect, like imperfective aspect, um, it's up to the context and it's up to the translator. Okay, but we have to get the tense right. So he or she said that he or she moved or was moving the chair. Okay, let's move on to the passives. He or she says. Okay, now what do we have here? Okay, Selam's accusative, but here say is not accusative. Okay, um, both accusative and ablative of say are the same form. Okay, but here, because of the ob here, okay, in front of say, we know that that's going to be an ablative form. Okay, that's one thing that tells us because say here is the object of a preposition. Okay, and another thing is that our verb is passive. And so if we have ob say plus a passive verb, chances are we have an ablative of personal agent. Okay, so it must be that the chair is going to be the subject of our verb here. So he or she says that the chair is being moved by him or herself. Okay, um, and then we go to number four. Our verb is changed to a past tense, so it's going to be a little different. Okay. He or she said sometime in the past, okay, that the chair was moved by him or herself. We have to shift our translation of moere to the past tense to match up with the past tense main verb. Number five. Now we have the perfect active infinitive. Okay, so he or she says is now saying, right? Says or is saying that he or she moved the chair. Okay, so when we have a perfect infinitive, that action happens before the main verb as opposed to at the same time of the main verb with a present infinitive. So he or she is saying right now, okay, that he or she moved the chair maybe yesterday or 5 minutes ago, okay. And then we get to the number six where we have a past tense verb plus the perfect infinitive, okay. He or she said that he or she moved, or he said, I'm sorry, that he or she had moved the chair. We have to translate mowisse as a pluperfect to get it before the past tense verb in time. Okay. So he or she said that he or she had moved the chair. So we have to make that back shift in time. Okay. Number seven, he or she is saying that the chair was moved, okay, by him or herself. Again, we have the ablative personal agent, okay, and we have selam, agreeing with Motom. So we know that Selim needs to be the subject of Motom essay. So he or she is saying that the chair was moved, okay, by him or herself. Again, perfect infinitive, we're going to translate that as an action that happens before the main verb. Okay, we'll just can translate that as a simple past because we have we're in primary sequence. Okay, we call primary sequence when our main verb is present or future, and we call secondary or historical sequence um, a sentence that is using some kind of a past tense verb. Okay, number 8, he or she said, okay, maybe yesterday, okay, that the chair had been moved by him or herself. Okay, so maybe the chair was moved the day before yesterday. Okay, so yesterday he or she said that the chair had been moved, maybe yesterday, okay, or the day before yesterday, okay, by him or herself. Okay, so this is what your um, next assignment is going to look like. Let me show you a couple ways you can access that or different ways of doing it. Okay, so if we go to your OneNote, basically you look in homework. Okay, we're looking at my version right now, but you'll find this same file, the same setup here in your homework uh, tab. Okay, notice here. Um, if you want to, you can just go ahead and just write your answers out here. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if you can do it that way if you want, um, especially if a tablet, you know, like that's what I'm using right now. Okay, um, or another way is you can go ahead and click on, you know, this link or this icon, and it'll open it up in your browser and you can download it. Okay. And then if you open it up in Acrobat, okay, it has these fillable forms. And so you can just go ahead and type in your answers, okay, and then save it and email it to me, okay? Um, or if you want to get off the screen for a while, you can just go ahead and print this out and just write it out. Okay. And then you can scan it and send me a file, or you could take a picture. Make sure you take a good one, though. Okay. So that should be it for now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay.